tax laws, if you have to look at it, Nigerians don't like paying taxes. We don't like it, and of course we have genuine reasons.
Yes.
We have absolute genuine, because we begin to ask, what are you using the money to do?
I have to commend the Nigerian youth because despite all, we're not perfect, but despite all, we're still trying to thrive. We're still trying to, make ends meet. And, despite the fact that sometimes, the government tries to make things hostile for them. So I feel we're doing well, but I feel there should still be room to allow us thrive more, to allow business people, entrepreneurs thrive more. Reduce the cost of materials, make it more financially friendly for them. We have so much, but we just need to be encouraged.
Yes.
That's why when some of us go abroad, we thrive because we're doing so well in such a choking economy.
Yes.
What happens when we go where there's an enabling environment? So we're craving the government help us.
Okay.
We're your children.
Think about was it last month or thereabout, Femi Falana SAN went to court so that the federal court in Lagos is on the news to fix the prices of commodities.
Oh, wow.
And that was a judgment, and the judgment was in his favor that the government should fix the prices of commodities. But there are corruptions also in the civil service.
Oh.
There are corruptions.
Let's
in
not
every
go
government
there.
agency.
So I was in the high court yesterday, and I cried. I cried because at every stage
You be
I
tipping
found
them.
out that justice is expensive in
Oh,
Nigeria.
wow.
It's as simple as that.
Then the part two is how government also should do what they need to do. Put
Okay.
the right people in place for those things.
Yeah.
Don't put a lawyer in terms of commerce. Don't put a doctor in agric. When Akinwumi Adesina, the former minister of
Well,
agric, who is now
agric.
when he was minister of agric in Nigeria, you understand, because that is what he does, and you can see tremendous things that happened. There
Yes.
were rice fields everywhere in the north. Where they did now, we can't find them again because the guy is no longer there. Because it's not a benefit.
Yes.
It's a call to
these are-
service.
it's not- you don't put benefit based on, you don't put people of benefit in business. It affects a lot of things.
Yeah.
It affects the individual, it
Yes.
affects the country, it
Yes.
affects what you put your money, it affects what your money buys, it affects the whole economic.
Oh, Barrister is telling us
that is-
how wrong it
so
can go.
that is the essence of you not putting the right person in the
In
right
place.
That is what we are saying now.
Top of the day to you, and welcome to Law Unscripted with Gavel, where we discuss everything from the standpoint of the law. My name is Ikina Muriekata, and today I have with me in the studio Barrister Rita Odafe Ofan
Thank
and
you.
Barrister Awoyemi. Nice to meet you, sir.
Nice to meet you, everybody. Hope you're all good.
Thank you for having me, Mary. It's
Yeah.
nice to be here.
Nice to
Yes.
be here too. You're
Yeah.
doing a very good program, and I think this is a program a lot of people will get enlightened
Yes.
and know what the law says about their lives in different situations. So
Yeah.
it's,
Yes,
good, it's
sir.
a very, very good program.
Thank you
Awesome.
for having me.
Thank you. All right. So today we're going to be discussing a very salient topic, very important. It's not just affecting persons in the legal space or in any profession, it's affecting myself and yourself. And that's the economic situation in Nigeria.
Yeah.
First, as a citizen, Barrister, let me remove Barrister. Let me do Rita.
yes.
Rita, as a
Yes.
citizen of
Yes.
Nigeria, how would you rate the economic situation? What level has it gotten to for you?
I like the fact that you removed that barrister because when I go to the market to buy something, they
You
won't
don't
reduce
barrister,
the-
I'm
yeah,
telling
they won't
you.
reduce the price because I'm a barrister. So I would rate it. Let me just say 3/10. I'm sorry. 3/10.
Should I add barrister to your name, sir?
Well, yeah, it's okay.
Or
it's
when
fine.
you mention barrister, your spaghetti money will drop.
All right. Well, this economic situation is not too good in the
Yes.
country now for everybody, and even for those who think they have savings, now they know that their savings is nothing. The only thing just put it in dollars, then you know that your savings is just zero.
Yes.
So it's seriously touching everyone now,
Yeah.
and it seems as if whatever you are trying to put into place is actually not worth anything because things keep changing. The funniest thing is that you go to
Yeah.
market to buy something on Monday, go back to that same market
Oh,
by the same
yeah.
on Friday.
Oh,
And the
yeah.
price has gone up.
Has gone
Yeah.
up. So
Yes.
it's even unpredictable. So that's even the problem. So if it's predictable, you can plan, but now it's even unpredictable. Sometimes even in
Exactly.
24 hours, it's
Oh,
unpredictable.
yes.
So
Oh, yes.
it's a serious situation now for everyone. I don't even know how Nigerians are coping with it, but somehow.
Okay, so there should be an explanation to this. What is the economic policy and regulation saying?
So there should be an explanation for it,
Yes, please.
but I wouldn't want to even delve into the economic policies, because with what has been happening consistently in the economy, it may seem unfair, but it's safe to say that our laws are pretty much just ink on paper. I mean, what's the essence of having those laws when a halt can't put into the abrupt changes? Little commodities, common commodities like noodles, for God's sake, that was just the shocker. Then even if you're a big person, cement, for God's sake. So, and there are laws, we have CBN that regulates these laws. We have
Yes.
section 16 of the constitution that says, yes, the commonwealth of the country should be equally spread among people, and then policies should be put in place that wouldn't marginalize people.
Yes.
So if you go to section 16 subsection 1 and section 16 subsection 2, it brings the economic mandate of Nigeria, and you can see that the realities on ground just pretty much makes all this provision useless, just like ink on paper. Nobody is raising questions. Yes, we're raising questions, but nobody is really doing anything about it. So this is what I feel is going on. For the rich to stay relevant, so to say, there has to be poor people, and so they are trying to make that margin go wider and wider and wider. That's how I see it, because I mean, fine, inflation is now an international thing.
Yes.
Let's be fair. If you travel out of the country, say countries like UK, at least I have a few friends there, countries like America, they'll tell you that yes, there's inflation, but there are measures put in place
Exactly.
to make sure that everybody is sane, there's no jungle justice, there's no robbery, nobody is breaking in. But
Yes.
the dollar rate just keeps going high, prices of commodities keep going high, and nobody is saying these are the cushioning effects.
Okay, so let me cut you off
Thank
there.
you.
Let me talk to Barrister Oyemi. What legal framework do you think would work in this kind of situation? Now, let's not forget that Barrister Rita has mentioned that the margin between the rich and the poor is so much now. But the government is for everyone, not just for the rich.
Yeah.
Now, what can we do? What do we expect of the government?
All right. Well, I think from what Barrister Rita said,
Yes.
one of the critical problems we have in Nigeria today is on enforcement.
Oh yes, sir.
Enforcement is a serious problem.
Yes.
So we have the laws.
The laws
Oh,
are there, but
yeah.
enforcing them has been and is always the problem. I think about was it last month or thereabout, Femi Falana, SAN, went to court so that the federal court in Lagos is on the news to fix the prices of commodities.
Oh, wow.
And that was a judgment, and the judgment was in his favor that the government should fix the prices of commodities.
But can that work?
That's what I'm saying. Enforcement. That's the point.
But
Enforcement.
are they going to look at the cost
Court
of
order.
production?
No, the thing is that if we have a board, or we have a regulatory agency that fixes price in
Yes,
this country,
yes.
and their basic work is to look at what is the cost of production, what is the cost, how are you going to make your profit,
Yes.
and how will you make sure that Nigerians also don't suffer.
the affordability.
Because we need to understand in this country, even when dollar risk was at 1,800, now it's at
415.
now.
Yes, exactly.
The things that we are buying when it was 1,800, they didn't come down.
They didn't
Yes.
They
come
stayed at
down.
the same
Oh, yes,
price.
sir.
That is the
Yes,
kind
sir.
of environment we have in this country.
Yes, sir.
So it's not even a matter of saying that their production cost, but when that kind of judgment comes in,
Yes.
it makes us to come in line with what the law says. But what do we see? There is no enforcement. And that's why I say one of the critical problems we have in this country is about enforcement
Yes,
of
sir.
those laws. If we
Yeah.
enforce just 20 or 30% of the laws we have in this
Oh.
country, then we're going to be good. We're going to have a good
Radical
country.
change.
I mean, we're going to have a perfect country.
Yes, sir.
But now the question is, who are those that should enforce those particular laws?
Awesome, 'cause that's what I wanted to ask.
That is where the problem is. Now, the thing is that it is the executive arm of the government that
Yes,
has
sir.
the statutory responsibility to
Yes,
enforce
sir.
laws in this country.
Okay.
You know, it is their function for them to make sure that laws that are in this country are executed. The laws
Yes.
are in this country are fulfills its main aim. That is their main duty.
Yes.
But what do we have? They are even the ones that are the top end of making sure
Exactly.
things are not fine. And that's where we have found ourselves.
So let me interrupt you. So you have just mentioned a very salient point, and that's corruption. Barrister Rita, do you think that corruption is actually a problem when it comes to economic stability?
Mary,
Hmm?
it is. Oh, it is. I remember this lady, she was a youngie. She was like one of the youngest ministers in the cabinet.
Oh, okay, yes.
I think she was giving the oversight of, the Ministry of Disaster Management. And the story around her, how it was alleged she embezzled so much money. And she had just barely been,
Less than a
sworn
year.
in. Exactly.
Yeah, less than a year in
Yeah,
office.
less than a year. And so she's in the executive arm. That is her office. Oh, when disasters come, she's supposed to be bringing funds to the poor man and making sure that everybody is okay. But look at what
Yes.
she's doing. Just like what he said, it is the executive that are supposed to enforce these laws, make sure that these laws are not just ink on paper, but they are the ones taking advantage of the power that they've been given. So that is a classic example there. Until today, we've not heard that, she's in prison.
Or something has been done.
Exactly. I heard in an Asian country, if, there's any allegation of corruption, they go as far as maybe beheading them or just making sure the family never sees the light of day. But here, it's so trivial. It's like that's what you're there to do. To steal money.
And let me just add to that. You see,
Yes,
when you
sir.
talk about corruption,
Yes.
although sometimes you look more at the executives, maybe at the federal level,
Yes.
or maybe at the state level, but there are corruptions also in the civil service.
Oh,
There are corruptions
Let's
in
not
every
go
government
there.
agency.
So I was in the High Court yesterday, and I cried. I cried because at every stage
You be
I
tipping
found
them.
out that justice is expensive in
Oh,
Nigeria.
wow.
It's as simple as that.
in every area. So those are critical institutions
Yes.
that's supposed to deal with the issue of corruption.
Yes.
And I tell people, if I'm just a clerk, maybe in judiciary, I'm just a
Yes,
clerk,
sir.
or
Yes,
maybe in
sir.
the federal government ministry or something, and I'm as bad as this, don't imagine I now become a councillor.
oh,
Or imagine I now become an House of Assembly member in my
Yes.
state. So if I'm stealing 100,000 naira, definitely
You have
stealing
access to
$100
millions
million
now.
will not be
Yes.
a problem.
Exactly.
So, and that is where we have found ourselves. So the problem of corruption even transcends the leaders that are talking.
Yes,
the ones
sir.
that we do
At the grassroots.
is
Yes, sir.
serious.
Yes,
And
sir.
we have to really, really deal with it at those stages. And it still comes back to the issue of enforcement. If while I was stealing 50,000 naira, if I've been arrested and I've
Exactly.
been prosecuted,
That would be a
and perhaps
deterrent.
thank you, it's be a deterrent. So
Yes, sir.
I don't want to go to prison. In fact, once I am a convict, definitely going higher is going to be a problem.
yes, that
Of
will spoil
course.
your record.
But because definitely there is no enforcement, then I can do whatever I like.
So let's leave the space of the government. Let's come to entrepreneurship, right? Barrister Rita,
Yes, please.
do you think Nigeria is good enough for entrepreneurs?
Well, at this point, I'm not trying to be biased, but
Yes.
I have to commend the Nigerian youth because despite all, we're not perfect, but despite all, we're still trying to thrive. We're still trying to, make ends meet. And, despite the fact that sometimes, the government tries to make things hostile for them.
Yes.
I remember when just because they realized that content creation is trending, people are getting endorsement. They said, "Hey, come and register your business."
Exactly.
You heard that? Gist?
Yes.
All content creators, come and register your business. So I feel we are doing well, but I feel there should still be room to allow us thrive more, to allow business people, entrepreneurs thrive more. Reduce the cost of materials. Make it more, financially friendly for them. We have so much, but we just need to be encouraged.
Yes.
That's why when some of us go, abroad, we thrive because we're doing so well in such a choking, economy.
Yes.
What happens when we go where, there's an enabling environment? So we're craving, the government. Help us.
Okay.
We're your children.
I'm telling you. So, Barrister Huyemi, I want to ask legally, because you have said, or it has been established here, that enforcement is our problem. But when it comes to the laws, do we have the laws that back up and give entrepreneurs a ground to thrive?
So absolutely, definitely, we have all the laws the first law that any entrepreneur might want to deal with is definitely the ones you do with CAC, depending on the kind of
Yes.
business you are
Yes,
doing.
yes.
That's sole proprietorship,
Exactly.
partnership, or
No,
incorporation of any of this.
incorporation.
That's the first thing
Yes.
that everybody needs. And that there is a law that guides, that's the CAC, Company and Allied Matters Act,
Yes, sir.
okay, 2020, that guides that. So that's like one of the basic laws that every
Yes,
entrepreneur, they say go and register your business.
Yes.
Okay, so that before you can go, and when you register your business, then you file your annual returns, you
Exactly.
do all of that, and then you can bid for other things.
Get
That's
loans,
get
get
loans,
grants.
and some of
Yes,
those things
sir.
they can sue you, can get sued.
Exactly.
There is the principle of corporate personality comes into place.
Yes.
This is your office that is doing it. It's not
Yes,
you.
you.
All those principles comes into place.
Yes.
So, and apart from that, there are other laws that you can also get registered before, depending on the kind of business
You
are doing.
run, okay?
If we are into technology, okay, now we have the data protection regulations that you have to
Exactly.
register with.
Yeah.
You have to also, depending on the kind, if you are also talking about she was talking about intellectual property, you have the
Yeah.
copyright laws.
Yes.
So depending on the kind of business you are doing, that will now dictate the kind of laws that will be relevant,
To you.
to you, depending on that kind of. So there is no specific laws that this is what you have to follow
Exactly.
until the kind of business. But the
Business.
general one is just get your CAC forms, you incorporate them from there, you go ahead
You are
into
good to
whatever
go.
you are doing.
Exactly.
But aside that, too,
Okay.
again, I want to also corroborate what my learned friend just said.
Yes, please.
Nigeria is a big country. Our population, they say, is 200 million. They say, but I believe it's more than 200
I believe so too.
now, so the point is that the business space is so wide. Let us
Yes.
even say that all those 200 million, maybe people that are doing white collar jobs,
Yes.
maybe they can be more than 20 million. That is if they are up to that. So we have 180 million people that we can do business with. That's huge.
That
That
is
is huge. That is more than the population of a lot of countries.
Yes.
as a
Yes,
whole.
sir.
So
Yes, sir.
that we can do business, all sorts, all kinds of business.
Yes.
Okay. So I think what we just need to and business keep coming in every day. This present government, they appointed the minister on a blue ocean something for the first time, and that's a big business on that deals with water,
Yes.
aquaculture, fisheries, and
that's a big
that's
market.
a big market on its own. That nobody's actually ever looking into before.
Yes.
We have the studied minerals also that nobody was at when the Bodija bomb blast
Oh,
happened in Ibadan.
yes,
People were
sir.
like, wow, so there is this kind of a thing that is
in
business in
Ibadan.
studied
Going
minerals,
around.
that is something
Wow.
going around, and that's another huge business that people are not actually looking into. But we all need to now say, okay, fine, when you have your own lawyer, that we advise you into necessary regulatory framework in
Okay.
that chosen area of
Yeah.
business where you want to do, so that it can be properly registered, and boom, you are good to go.
Okay, so we started with economic stability. This is going to be like the final question. How do you think? Because we have mentioned corruption, we have mentioned the lack of enforcement, we have mentioned the fact that things are trying to stifle the growth of entrepreneurs in Nigeria. What is the solution? Barrister Rita, should I give you some minute to think?
No.
What
It's
is the
still-
solution?
It's still what my learned friend has said.
How? So if we're talking about enforcement,
Yes.
how do you think the government can enforce these laws
So
that will produce
Yeah,
results?
so I think everything still boils down to self-leadership. I think every citizen of Nigeria, we need a reorientation of what leadership is. That just like what he said,
Yes.
you don't really have to be the president or a senator or a member of the House of Representatives before you know the proper things to do. And self-leadership is doing the right thing when no one is watching.
True.
And then being accountable that, I have superiors there that I would give account to. I think if everyone has that at their heart, we won't have any problem as a country.
It's in two ways:
Okay.
the government and the people.
Yes.
For instance, tax laws. If you have to look at it, Nigerians don't like paying taxes. We don't like it, and of course, we have genuine reasons.
Yes.
We have absolute genuine, because we begin to ask, what are you using the money to do?
What
mean,
am I
to get-
enjoying?
What am I
Yes,
enjoying?
those are bad.
So,
Yeah.
but the fact is that in tax laws is a law. It's just like the law that says don't steal something. It's a law. Either you're enjoying something or not, you have to pay it.
True.
And we are paying the value added tax. And if you go and buy anything now, you're going to pay for it.
True.
It's part of what you're going to pay for.
True.
And the people have brought it into whatever you are buying in supermarkets. If you buy your phone, you pay
Yeah.
value added tax. And there's
Yeah.
nothing you can do about it.
Yes.
All right. So there are some things, if you're in a business, if you're an entrepreneur and you want to get well, do the best to do what you can do. File your annual returns, pay your tax where you need to pay tax, and do all those things. That is what
Your
she
part.
said. Do your own
Yeah.
part. That's
Yes.
the part one. Then the part two is now government also should do what they need to do. Put
Okay.
the right people in place for those things.
Yeah.
This present administration appointed Mr. Bosun, who is a skilled person when it comes to ICT, when it comes to technology. That is a good person that understands, the
The
business,
terrain.
the terrain.
Yeah.
So
Awesome.
when you have, don't put a lawyer in terms of commerce. Don't put a doctor in agric. Okay, so when you put someone and the guy is doing so well to the best of our knowledge, you can read about him, the minister for ICT or something. He's doing so well because that's
He knows, that's his field.
all this tech hub. He's trying to bring them on and doing all those things, even in Africa. So that is what the government can do. And that is what when Akinwumi Adesina, the former minister of
Well,
Agric, who is now
Agric.
when he was minister of Agric in Nigeria, you understand, because that is what he does, and you can see tremendous things that happened.
Yes.
There were rice fields everywhere in the north. Where they did now, we can't find them again because the guy is no longer there.
So I don't know if it's on this note we should end, but yes, it is on this
Food for
note
thought.
we should end. And we hope that the government puts all of this in action, put people that are capable to
Exactly.
do the job,
Exactly.
both intellectually and health wise.
Not political parties.
Exactly.
Not, just the
Not
person they
paying you
think-
off as
Exactly.
benefits.
Because it's not a benefit.
Yes.
It's not,
It's a
you're
call
not,
to
these are-
service.
it's not, you don't put benefit based on, you don't put people of benefit in business. It affects a lot of things.
Yeah.
It affects the individual. It
Yes.
affects the country. It
Yes.
affects what you put your money. It
Yeah.
affects what your money buys. It affects the whole economic.
Oh, Barrister is telling us
that is-
how wrong it
so
can go.
that is the essence of you not putting the right person in the
In
right
place.
That is what we are saying now.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Barrister Awoyemi. Thank you so
Thank
much,
you for
Barrister
having me.
Rita. Thank you very much. And please, economic stability is important in a country as great as Nigeria. We are blessed with a lot of resources. I don't think we should be in this stage
Yeah.
at this time. My name is Ikina Mary Ekata. Thank you so much for listening to Unscripted with Gavel. Remember, if you have any troubles, legal troubles, you can always reach out to us via Instagram, Twitter, our Facebook, our LinkedIn, all of the social media platforms. We're there to help you. Till we meet again, which will be very in a short while, I must say. My name still remains Ikina Mary, and this is Law Unscripted with Gavel. Have a lovely day.